Hello and welcome back to Pinstripe Press. We're back with episode 35, and the Yankees are now 15-8 at the time of this recording, going 2-2 since our last episode. But our main focus today will be on the series against the Tampa Bay Rays, where the Yankees went 2-1. Although we win this series, I think there's still a lot of concerns popping up. And some things that we definitely need to talk about regarding the offense.
It's weird. They're winning games, but not at all how you want them to win. Like Mike said, great record so far, but I think each game is just like it's a struggle sometimes. You watch and you still get glances of last season. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. I don't know how you take it. You should be excited, but at the same time, concerned. I think for some of the players, at least. We'll break down a couple of these guys, but there's definitely some of our star players are not playing up to expectations at all.
Yeah, agreed. And to this point, I guess it's good that we're still winning these games while we're not performing at our best. But as these concerns pop up, you wonder how long could they keep going on? Could this affect us throughout the season? What does that mean for the rest of the season? Because not all the time will our pitching be this good, and I don't know down the line how many how many series we end up winning when our offense has this kind of performance.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of thought we were over it. We were past this struggling offense. The bat's going silent, but just seems like it's just picked right back up. But hopefully we will get help soon with the recent news of DJ starting his rehab assignment in Double-A on tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Right?
Tomorrow, yep. He'll be in Somerset. Likely going to get a few games in the minors before he returns to the major league roster, just to work himself back up to seeing professional pitching and just being ready for at bats at the MLB level. But yeah, definitely could be a spark in the lineup, a guy that'll be getting on base hopefully a lot. He could be a good addition.
And especially with, guys like Glaber, how they're playing. And Volpe, which, I don't know, I definitely want to talk about Volpe's struggles, at least leading off right now. We talked about in the last episode, Boone said how Volpe won't really lose that job, but Volpe's, he's like 2 for 25 in his past two series here. Not playing good at all at leadoff. And you look at him at the start of the season, leading the league in batting average, and that's when he was hitting 6-7?
Yeah.
Towards the bottom of the lineup. So you wonder if that's a cause of concern and if that's something they're noting, because it's definitely a red flag right now.
Yeah, I agreed with Volpe. We'll get more into him later, but I think also, with DJ coming back and having that one extra infielder that can be a regular in the lineup, it gives that much more flexibility for who we can put out there every day. Thus far, Anthony Rizzo hasn't sat out a single game. Gleyber Torres, I think, has only missed like a game or two. Right now, pretty much Cabrera is playing every single game because of John Birdie's injury. So once we get DJ back, it can give those guys some rest days for sure, because DJ can fill in three of the infield positions. When when Volpe needs a day off, you can slide Cabrera over to short for the day. Maybe some fatigue setting in. We are, almost 25 games into the season. The Yankees not getting many days off right now. So that could be, one of the reasons for some of our players' struggles at the moment. So should definitely help to get some reinforcements.
If you remember, the schedule has changed too. So you're not playing as many games versus your division teams. So you're facing more of the teams like the A's coming up in this series. They're about to head to. Obviously, they're home, but we'll see a lot of these away series are all over the country. A lot of West Coast games. So I think fatigue definitely has to be a question now. And I think that's why having good depth is also very important, because you're going to be traveling a lot, and baseball is a long season. There are not many off days like you just referred to. So I think, guys are going to be tired. And that's, I think, the concern for, some of the guys like Stanton and Judge. And, Soto, I think he's going to be playing a lot. But, there's some wear and tear. Guys definitely need off days. So it's definitely a question to be asked when looking at the performance so far and, the performance to be had soon. But it's like weird to think about. We talk about DJ coming back. I think just like I feel like going to the Yankees, like if you're Soto, there's a lot of like those names on this lineup. Like I feel like it's cool to say like, you got to play with so and so. Like, there's I guess to an extent, there's some like veteran like OG guys. Like there's a lot of big names that are on this team. It's just like I don't know. It's weird. Like it's interesting to think about. Like like Soto got to say like I played with DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, even like Anthony Rizzo, Alex Verdugo. I guess that's the thing about the Yankees. It's not they're not going to have a set team like you see the Orioles with their prospects. It's just not how they do things, I guess, which is good and bad. But I don't know. I guess that's the perk of always trying to get the good guys. There's a small thing I kind of thought about. It's a little weird, but I don't know. It's something that just popped in my mind.
Yeah, big names on the team. They have the potential to be good because they've been very good in the past. DJ LeMahieu, multiple-time batting title winner. Rizzo, a key piece on a world championship team. So those, obviously that's happened in the past, but those guys are still those players. Giancarlo Stanton, massive home run hitter, MVP. Yeah, so you got these big names on the team. You just hope, they're still up to, what they can be. So they're performing for this team right now.
Mm-hmm. And that leads us into let's break down this series quickly. A lot of things happened, to say the least. It was definitely up and down, crazy moments. All social media, at least for me, was just there's a lot of Yankees. At least this first game of the Rays. First game here, first time playing the Rays this season too. So we got to look at how this Rays team might be versus the Yankees. Obviously, they give them trouble all the time, and this series on paper showed. And if you watched, they did that exact thing. Kind of weird this first game. You look at the numbers. The Yankees really shouldn't have won this game. Rays had 14 hits. The Yankees had 5. And the Yankees pull away 5-3. And it was set up from that Soto 3-run bomb. That was a crazy moment. Like watching the highlights. I wish I was there. Like imagine being at that game. I think that's probably like the best time to go to any sports game is like when your team has a comeback. I mean, we were at, a couple of years ago, Yankees A's, and that first game we went to, like, the A's were winning the whole time. The Yankees made a late game push, and that environment was some of the best environment you can get at a game. Just watching a comeback happen.
Yeah, especially during an exciting time like right now, where the Yankees are, playing good. Have a good record, and the vibes are high. So I'm sure that was a great moment in the stadium. But yeah, even watching it on TV, it was pretty electric. So yeah, I mean, this game, yeah, like you said, it was, we got kind of fortunate. Clark Schmidt had a pretty solid outing, gave up a lot of hits, but in general, got out of jams, did his job. He looked pretty solid. Got into that sixth inning once again, but could not complete the sixth inning. And yeah, we were losing until that seventh inning. I had the 5-run seventh inning. Tyler Alexander shut us down into the sixth, and we finally got to the Rays bullpen in the seventh. So yeah, we come away with that win. Yeah, I mean, the offense, looking at it wasn't great, but we put things together in that one inning, which gave us all the runs we needed due to some pretty good pitching this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking at the stats, like, our starters are really they're doing, like, extremely well right now. I mean, you look at their stats, too. I think every guy right now, his ERA is either 3 or below. And I guess it's, you got to turn to that. The offense is just not being productive at all right now. When the pitching, when we're already dealt with these injuries on the pitching staff and the bullpen, and they're doing their job, like, this is, like, the offense has to step up, because, like, if they're not stepping up now, what's going to happen when Cole comes back? We already saw that last year. Cole had a Cy Young season, and the team still couldn't make the playoffs. The offense is just, I don't know, it's just not good. And it's a little bit better, but there's still some peaks here. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is the pitching's done very well, and it's just disappointing that, we're still losing some of these games that are very winnable, and even the games we're winning, we're, like, just, I don't know, barely sneaking by.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. With how our pitching has been so far, and with how the offense has, the expectations on the offense and how much they've been hyped up so far this season, you feel like they should be winning, like, pretty much all of these games. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it a few times already. Saw it in Game 2 of this series, which we'll talk more about. But we're wasting, some outings from some really, really good outings from our pitchers. Game 2 of this series, we lose 2-0, but seven scoreless innings from Nestor Cortez. So that's. I mean, you can't do that. We saw it happen with Cole last year. Wasted some of his best performances, his his Cy Young season, and now we're seeing more of the same this year when our pitching has been, pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. Like, you can't. Yeah, I mean, losing that game in Game 2. Yeah, Nestor has a great outing, and you still come away losing 2-0, only getting 4 hits against Eflin, which he's not a bad pitcher, but he has not had a great season at all to start. Just 4 hits, and when you look at the guys that got on his team, and once again, Soto has half of those.
Yeah.
Like, no one is stepping up outside of Soto, and that's why he's going to deserve that contract. It's just, like, I don't know, like, do changes still have to be made? Now, we are still waiting to get DJ back, but I don't know. I think it's more than just one guy issue here.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, right now we have our main pieces in the lineup. We have most of the main pieces. We have Judge and Soto, who should be getting the job done. But that's not necessarily happening all the time. I mean, most of it has been Soto, like you said. Yeah, but like this game, obviously there was like a little bit of a weird lineup in there with like Grisham batting sixth and Jahmai Jones getting the start, but still you'd expect this lineup to hopefully get at least a couple of runs, and then you leave it to a 0-0 game into the late innings, into extra innings, and eventually our bullpen gives in and we lose this game 2-0 in a game where Aaron Judge goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and gets booed by the home fans. So it was an ugly game, not one that we should have lost with our pitching, with how our pitching was.
What are your thoughts on Judge getting booed? Do you think he deserves it, or do you think it's a little too early to judge that for Judge?
I have some mixed feelings on this, to be honest. At the moment, like, it's obvious he's been pretty dang bad, to be honest. But yeah, so I can see the fans' frustration. I see where it's coming from, especially in a game like this where you're wasting Cortez's outing, going 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, pretty unacceptable from an MVP from 2 years ago. So yeah, I mean, he's also our captain. You want him to be better. You have so much expectations for Soto and him back to back in the lineup, and then you're getting a below 200 hitter who's striking out like 40% of the time. It's pretty unacceptable. So I see the boos. I recognize them. They're justified, in my opinion, but part of that justification comes from who the boos are directed towards. I mean, it's our captain. We know how composed Aaron Judge is, and how those things don't really get to him. And he took it really well. He said, "I'd be booing myself too with how he's been performing." So, Judge can take the criticism. So maybe it's just more of a motivation at this point. Do I think he necessarily deserves it? No. It's been 23 games, but I see where the fans are coming from.
Maybe we gotta give him a Trey Turner thing. Remember when he
Standing O?
Yeah, he was playing bad, and instead of booing the fans, like, gave him a standing ovation. Maybe they gotta do that with Judge.
Yep.
I don't know. I think I can.
Some of the reactions already are just crazy. I've heard, this Judge contract is one of the worst in MLB history. Like, how can you say that at this point? But the overreactions have been ridiculous. I have no doubt he'll bounce back, but obviously right now he's playing pretty bad. So I get the frustrations, especially when this is coming from a former MVP. But you got to expect at some point that he'll be back to his normal self.
I wonder if you think it's a lineup issue. Like, I know him hitting, he wants to hit 3, but I don't know. Not going back to 2 wouldn't be a bad option. Having Soto.
At this point, I'd like to keep it the way it is, at least like 2 and 3 being Soto Judge. But if this trend continues, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing a little flip flop of those two. Just knowing with how good Soto's been, Aaron Judge has that protection of having someone that good right behind him, so he'll be seeing, some better pitches to hit, hopefully. But at this point, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I was just wondering because you can, if you think Volpe on leadoff too, pitchers might be worried if he gets on. They're worried about him stealing, so there could be a increase of fastballs thrown to that two batter. So that obviously benefits Judge. Whereas Soto will, it doesn't really matter what they throw at him. Like, he's got a great approach. He's got one of the best plate disciplines in the league, and he protects it. So I that's definitely a thought, but obviously it's early. I think that'd have to be down the road for him to continue to struggle, but I don't think he will. He's going to be back to how he is. I think everyone goes through slumps too, and hey, I mean, it might be better that it's now. We say that all the time. You'd rather have the issues come out now than later for towards the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, looking at the stats right now, they obviously look really bad, but that might just be because he's having his slump at the beginning of the season. He's had major slumps in the past, but they haven't come at the beginning of the season. And since he already had really good stats before going into those slumps previously, although it may have decreased his stats or made them look worse, it still didn't make them look as bad as they are right now. So yeah, I think eventually things will even out. His average will go back up. His power will start to come back. He'll be making more contact. He's still seeing a ton of pitches and walking a decent amount. But yeah, I think it's only a matter of time.
Yep, it's only a matter of time. That's the question. That's the statement of the season so far for a lot of these guys. Back to this series, like we said, the Yankees drop that game too. And then they went to the Knicks game after too. You see that?
Yes, yeah, that was funny. No, I see it. We see it a lot. I mean, they show support to the Knicks, the Rangers, whatever. So yeah, that's cool to see.
But they bounced back in Game 3. Come away with the series win, 5-4 with Luis Gil on the bump, and he had a great outing. I think it probably could have been better, but you'll take what you can get. Almost gets through 6, walks a couple guys there. I mean, you could argue he could have stayed in or not, but I mean, Boone made that call. I mean, he had 9 strikeouts again. Like, this is – you saw the clip we had up earlier about Mike talking about him. It's what we're going to get. He's going to be a high strikeout guy. And it's been the moral of the story for him so far. I mean, like, through 4, he had 8 strikeouts. And to be at his age, too, he's, 24 or 25, around there. And, he's looking like a big league caliber, kind of like 3 in the rotation. I mean, I think this is a sneaky good asset for the Yankees to have, to be honest. If he can keep this up, at least.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, as a young pitcher, you're always going to be like you're going to be looking to find your command. So, and that's what he needs. I believe he's like 25 now. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I think he'll be working on his command as a young pitcher. That's what you do, and what we're seeing from him now is really promising. He's going to have a really high Ks through 9. His walks per 9 probably be pretty high as well. But if he can keep performing like this, it gives us another option that we can trust for the rotation down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he has his, great outing, and then starting to see this here, these past couple games, the bullpen, again, leaking oil. Dennis Santana gives up 3 here, but luckily, the Yankees already have that lead there, and Clay Holmes, Victor Gonzalez comes in, finished that off that save. A little scary there. Still close games, low scoring. Seems like the story for the Yankees, and 3 errors. So just not good. Not good at all. The offense, Verdugo has that 3-hit game. Seems like he's starting to hopefully find his groove a little bit. You saw that last series. I gave him my pinstripe press performer of the series to him. But I don't know. It's just still, I don't know. It's just inconsistent from top to bottom. Just not good. I mean, they're winning, and this defines it. Not how you want to win at all.
Yeah, I mean, in this game 3 at least, we saw the offense in the 5th inning just string together a bunch of hits, which gave us those few runs, which gave the bullpen some room to work with. Even giving up those few runs, still maintain the lead. So giving the pitching some run support was definitely helpful in this game. And yeah, we get to close it out in the 9th with Gonzalez, take the series 2-1. But yeah, like you were saying, the bullpen showing some leakage. It was Ferguson in game 2 in extras. It was Santana here in game 3, and game 1, Ian Hamilton with a couple earned runs as well. So there's some of those issues there. Luckily, in a couple of those games, those errors, those mistakes and runs given up didn't really affect the outcome. But hopefully this doesn't keep happening in games where it would matter more. So yeah, bullpen concerns, major offensive concerns. I think that's kind of the theme of this series, although we won the series.
Mm-hmm. Same old for the Yanks. All right. Let's go into the good, bad, and ugly for this series. Obviously, as you've been hearing us say, it's not been too much good, but there were some spotlights here, especially for the starting rotation, which we talked about. Nestor Cortez, another bounce back outing for him. Obviously, he goes 7, which he's not, that's not really who he is. He doesn't really go too far into games. But for him to come do that and, obviously get high strikeout count, I think it's, a good outing to him. And I think you got to give it to him, too, because, the Yankees lost. So I think that just puts more discipline on that offense. That shows how good of an outing he actually had to. To shut out the Rays pretty much, and the Yankees still can't do anything.
Yeah, really good outing. He's had some ups and downs, but we saw that 8-inning outing from him not too long ago, and now this 7-inning outing with 9 strikeouts. So, this one gets his ERA down into the low 3s or the mid 3s. So some promising signs there. So I think out of anything, he gets our good for this series. Moving on to the bad, he's kind of been pretty bad the whole season, but also in this series, I think we got Gleyber Torres. Once again, not a good series for him.
Nope. And I said it earlier, I'm not opposed to the trade talks for him It is early, but I mean he's 3 for 16 in his past two series. He's just not doing it, and he doesn't help his case in the field at all either. He's definitely sold a lot of the games. And with DJ coming back, like we said, we got guys who, have a better resume. And this is a contract year for him too, and he's not playing up to that at all. I think it's just a matter of time. It's similar to Stanton, but Stanton's at least been picking up some of the slack. I think it's similar to a lot of the guys. They should be on short leashes, especially how last year went. I mean, why are we holding these guys on if they're just not performing? Especially with the talent we got. Like we already saw with Garrett Cole. He wasted his Cy Young season. At a Cy Young season, we didn't even get to see him pitch in the playoffs. We can't waste Soto's season here as well because that's a even bigger issue that we'll have to talk about as the season will come to a close later, obviously, because he's going to need a contract. There's just a lot of question marks, and I don't think Glaber's building himself a good case here at all.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Really got to question what his future is with the team, based on how he's doing this year. So that'll be something we figure out later down the line. But for now, he's got our bad in this series. Moving on to the ugly, a little bit surprising. But, once again, not the greatest series for Anthony Volpe, who moved up to the top of the lineup and has struggled there in this series. Once again, only getting one hit, going 0 for 4 and 0 for 5 in the last two games of the series. So some struggles from him, some signs of cooling off. Now his batting average under 300. So, yeah, I think he gets the ugly, especially that 0 for 5. It just looks really, really bad.
Yeah, the middle infield is just not hitting well at the plate. Volpe was 2 for 25 in his past two series here, and that's not good at all. So I don't know what's going on. Like, what do you look at here? What is not working for the Yankees? Like, why is the offense not clicking? The pitching's doing fine. They're doing great. And outside of Soto, it's like, what's going on here? Like, I really don't understand. I don't understand it because they're good players too. Do you think it's just – I don't know. It's early to tell, but I don't know. I guess it's a question you're going to have to ask. Like, can this team play well together? Like, does everyone fit? Because, I mean, there's some times where it's like I don't really know what's going on here.
I think, this may sound obvious, but it's, kind of the on-base percentage probably is looking pretty poor over the last few series. I think what we saw a lot of at the start of the season is guys, working the count and really just getting on base no matter how they did it. A lot of walks, a lot of base hits here and there. And then our guys taking advantage of having those runners in scoring position. But now, I think a lot less of just getting on base, a lot less opportunities for guys to drive in runs, which is why we're seeing less runs being scored. And yeah, I mean, in this series, the runs were scored, on that Soto home run for the most part. And in that fifth inning in Game 3, where we strung together some hits, which was the only time we did that this series. So, yeah, I think, as obvious it may sound, it's just not having those guys on base, giving us less opportunity.
Yep, just not bringing in the guys, not scoring runs. It's continuing to happen, and it's not good. All right, let's try to move into some good, all right? Some moments rankings here. Um, the Nestor outing obviously was a spark right there for this series. Soto's homer, which I don't know. Every time I watch that video, it's just like it's crazy. Like just the energy he brings, and then Luis Gil's outing as well. So 3 moments here. Obviously, not a great series on paper. They take it, but from those 3 moments, what do you rank them?
I think in my three, although it probably was a little bit better of an outing, I'd go for Nestor Cortez's 7 inning outing. Um, I think just after his 8 inning outing, it wasn't as exciting just because we knew that he was what he's capable of. But still, once again, really clean, scoreless 7 innings. Next up, I have Luis Gil's outing, getting almost through 6 innings, but really just looking electric, getting a bunch of strikeouts, on pace for a ton of strikeouts. If he was able to go deeper into the game, but only giving up a single run, getting 9 strikeouts in under 6 innings. That was, really fun to watch and really proved that he can be someone that we can trust down the line. And obviously, I think for this one, it was a no-brainer putting that Soto homer in the number one moment of this series. That was just an absolutely electric moment in a tight game. 2 guys on, have Soto hit that bomb to right field, and the reaction was crazy. His little interaction with Judge on the on-deck circle was it just gave you the chills. Like that was something, that's something that's in the movies, like a moment that, these guys will never live down. I think it was a really good one, helped us get that win. So yeah, I think that gets my one.
I agree. I mean, you look at that dugout, like you were saying. You see Wells, you see Stroman. I think just that's the thing with bringing some of these guys in. They all got different personalities, and that really can help a team, especially a team that's coming off a season they had last year. Like that's why I think bringing in a guy like Soto or Verdugo and Stroman. I mean, those three have all different personalities than the typical Yankees team you'd see. And I think it's good to change that up there, and I think we're seeing it now. Stroman's running out of the dugout every time someone hits a homer. Wells is getting happy. And then, Soto's creating some of these moments in the field and at the plate. I just think it's good. It's just, hopefully it can just rub off onto the rest of the team because obviously they're just not performing well. So to wrap this up here, this episode, let's continue it with, our pinstripe
Performer of the series.
Pinstripe performer of the series. You want to go first?
Yeah, I think I got one in mind. I'm going to go with the guy that you went with last episode. I'm going to go with Alex Verdugo. You might not have had the flashiest of series or the most exciting of series, but I think he deserves this. Maybe on paper you're not having the best series compared to some of our starting pitching, but I wanted to give this to him. We saw that 3-hit game in Game 3. Since his somewhat lackluster start of the season, he started to pick things up. And has been really solid at the plate as of late. And also, in the field, he's been extremely solid, making all the routine plays and more. And, yeah, I don't think right now you can't ask too much more of him because you're not going to put all the weight on his shoulders of, carrying this offense. But he is doing his part. And, once some of our other guys get going again, he will be, I guess one of those key guys towards the bottom of the order that will be able to drive in some runs and, make some things happen.
I like it. I definitely think Verdugo's a little underappreciated, like I talked about last series, and I agree. I think he's definitely showing, he's finding his way with this team, and I think we're seeing that at least on the field in ways you might not think. So for my pinstripe performer of the series, I kind of went with a obvious choice. I said Juan Soto. I just think, his 3-run homer, it brought back energy into this team and showed, the moments he can create and what this team's capable of. I think it kind of just excited you as a fan to see, how this season can go and, how great of a player he is and, what we might see too, because, just that one small glimpse, like, gets you excited for, to watch him play. I think every at bat, everyone's tuned in. Every time he's playing, everyone's tuned in. And then also in the field, he made that leap and catch at the wall in that game too. And he's just been, probably our best player, at least so far. And he is one of the best players in the league. And I hope they can retain him. And I think similar to Verdugo, he's finding his way. And I think he's showing, who the Yankees are and how they play as well.
Yeah, I think, obviously a good choice for pinstripe performer. He's been our best player, no doubt, in my mind at least. So, yeah, another good series from him. Yeah. I think, before we end this, we'll take a quick look at the current series, which is versus the Oakland A's at home. Had game 1 today. We'll get into the results of that in next episode. But today we had Carlos Rodon on the mound versus JP Sears. Game 2 tomorrow will be Marcus Stroman versus Paul Blackburn. Game 3 will be Clark Schmidt versus Joe Boyle. And game 4 will be Nestor Cortez versus Alex Wood. I will say it. We did end up losing today's game 1. So maybe going into the series, you wanted the Yankees to sweep or maybe win 3 out of 4 of these games. But after today's result, it might not be that way.
Definitely a disappointing start to the series, but, it's manageable. And I think you look around the league and really everyone's playing about the same. There's not too many teams that are really horrible. I mean, even look at this A's team. They've been winning series against capable teams too. So you definitely can't take them lightly. And I don't know, just got to go at like each game here and, just win as many as we can. And I think you look at the record, 15-8. I think with the magnitude of the team, you're kind of disappointed, but at the same time, you should be, you're happy with where you are. You could look at last year, see how that goes, and I think anytime you're winning games and have a winning record, you should be fine. And I think this team they're going to get better. We're going to get healthier too. DJ coming back, the bullpen hopefully gets a little better too. And, just got to go from there.
Yeah, I agree on all points.
So we will be back on Friday, possibly, after this A series.
Yeah, for sure. 4 games set. Hopefully we take the last few games of the set. But, yeah, we'll catch you after this one.
Go Yanks.
Peace.